Plants vs. Zombies 1 is near perfect and stands as most people's favorite game in this franchise. Many people believe that PopCap cannot replicate their gem of a game, which of course the easiest thing to blame that is, oh no. Plants vs. Zombies 2, from a Plants vs. Zombies 1's purest perspective, is an unbalanced, overly long, grindy, microtransactions-filled game that makes people feel overwhelmingly disappointed. Even though I agree with plenty of those points, I find that people who say that stuff have really never actually played the game, which is a shame because there has been plenty of effort thrown into this game. You shouldn't judge a game so much if you haven't actually played it, which is why in my Paper Mario video, I tried to stay pretty conservative with my words on what I would say about Super Paper Mario, since I had never actually played the game before. But to those who insist on PVZ2's major flaws, which I'll be the first to admit it definitely has flaws, I present you with this. This is Project Eclise, designed by Good P2 and Mind Power. Now, I will explain what this is for the people who are unaware, but I know plenty of you watching know what this is, as oh man, so many comments. These guys have put an incredible amount of work into one of the biggest passion projects I've seen in a while. And I suggest you go subscribe to Good P2 on YouTube.
The Mad Lad
Usually posts updates on his work, or even check out his Patreon, as judging by his wording, he works on this game a lot. As for only being developed by 2 people, holy heck is there a lot to unpack here. And the best part is, this is all free.
You don't make money by giving stuff away.
Yeah, these 2 individuals who are putting their life and soul into this project is not charging you a single cent. Now that is massive respect right there. I'll be going over my full detailed thoughts in this video, which means that there's going to be a lot to discuss. So I have left timestamps in the description if you want to go back to a certain point of the video. Oh yeah, and spoilers, which I know many of you don't actually care about, but I played this game blind and I suggest you guys do that too, since it was a joy to see all the unique elements and balance changes they made as I played the game. So for that reason, I'll link in the description a download page to the game. Alright, for the 99% of you who are still here and did not even flinch at my spoiler warning,
Here we go!
So the game starts out similarly enough to PVZ2. Some tutorial levels, introduce Penny, go to ancient Egypt, but you see the time travel cutscene and you're back in modern day house again? Penny explains that there are some risks in the timeline, and these are secret optional stages you'll come across every once in a while. More on that later. So Good P2 and Mind Power have completely redone everything from scratch. The worlds have been rearranged, every level is new and fresh, and the order that you get plants in has changed. And even level progression has been made more linear, which in this case is a good thing. Everything I just said is a lot, so let me go one by one. Starting with level progression. For every 10 levels you play in a world, you move on to the next world. This keeps the gameplay fresh, and since there are so many worlds, when you go all the way back to ancient Egypt, it feels fresh and new again. Going back and starting over actually kicks off Eclise Part 2, which introduces plant food. Yeah, they pushed it all the way to the halfway point. This adds a huge layer of new options in gameplay when in battle, and I'm glad it's here this late as to keep things fresh. And rearranging the worlds adds to that, as it throws a curveball to experienced players who have been with the game forever, and provides an out-of-order experience, if that makes sense. And since the worlds have been reordered, so have the plants. And when I mentioned that this game is free, you wanna know what else is? All of the premium plants too. Yes, you heard me right. Start taking notes, PopCap.
Oh man, some of these things are just, you know, like original Plants vs. Zombies items, and now they're selling them? Wow.
So for the people who did not shell up for the ridiculous prices of the premium plants in the vanilla game, you get to play around with what seems like so many new and fun plants that were locked behind a paywall previously. Again, take notes, PopCap.
Wow. I mean, I can see myself buying some of these in the future simply because I do videos about this, but as a gamer, I wouldn't be buying these unless I just was in love with this game.
Now the levels, and oh boy, this is something I never knew I was missing from PVZ2 until now. The levels in this game are just so creative. I'll only name just a few examples. Take this level. I'm sure you've seen this level floating around on the internet as a good example. So the gimmick here is that you only have a set number of plants on the conveyor belt. What you see is what you get. But every time either a plant is eaten or dug up, you immediately get the plant back, so you constantly have to adapt and shovel and move plants and shovel and move plants. It's a very fun and creative level. Oh, and here's another great example. You're given a special seed bank and have to use not only the plant already given to you, but the other plants the game gives you the option to choose. Wow, level 3, that looks like it'll be fun to mess around with. Alright, time to pick my plants and... Yep, so the game only gives you either defensive or support plants, which means the only way you're going to effectively kill zombies is with the Eclise, and Jesus Christ is he expensive. So you have to fend off the zombies as long as you can while generating enough sun to place down the Eclise. Great level if you ask me. Here's our final example for now. It's one of those protect the endangered plants levels, where if one of the selected plants gets eaten, well, it's game over. Well, Torchwoods would incentivize pea shooters to utilize the power added by the Torchwood. Well, I guess I'm gonna be picking pea shooters. You already know what's gonna happen. You saw what happened last time. There's gonna be something blocking me in my path to pick pea shooters. And yep, it's this little small imp guy you're seeing on the screen. That little bastard. He is immune to fire, which means you can't use pea shooters. So it's either don't use anything pea shooter-like, use something cowbell-like, or use a snow pea, because when the snow goes into the fire, it doesn't just turn into a fire pea, but rather a regular pea, so it can actually damage the fire imp. Oh my god, I'm a freaking genius! This is the level of deep thinking this game encourages, and well, by golly, this is what I meant when I said I never knew I needed this. And this genre encourages strategy and optimal placement. PVZ2 was bring the most OP and most power dealing plants to win. Yeah. Alright, so not only has good P2 and Mind Power done the absolute daunting task of redoing every level in this game, and have also dramatically altered the structure of this game, but they have also added like a boatload of optional content. Like, holy smoke, slow down there, buddy. So let me first talk about those secret levels I briefly mentioned earlier. After every 5 levels, you are greeted to a secret level that you can completely skip if you want to. But if you beat the level, you will get a plant that either you unlock way later in the game, or you would normally be required to have to buy them through the shop with gems. I absolutely love this idea, as it encourages people to give these levels a shot, while giving people the option to unlock the plants through a different way. I also love these, as it perfectly balances the pacing, as after you've played a handful of levels, boom, secret level. Not once ever while playing this game I felt like, man, I'm kind of getting slightly bored right now. As especially with the secret levels, they all have very distinct gimmicks that makes the experience fun to see what the next secret level holds. I won't list examples for spoilers, though technically the Eclise level example was from a secret level, so boom, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's your example. Happy now? Alright, I'll list one example with S18 Time Stop, where you have to survive a huge onslaught of zombies, but more importantly, you have to lure in a zombie at the very end to activate this potion all the way on the top left. You cannot do it too early or else you lose immediately, and if you do it too late, then you are definitely gonna die. So even with all the pluses to secret levels, and I gotta be honest, it's one of my favorite additions for this game, I do have some problems with them. First to start, you can't actually restart these levels, which always stuck out to me as such a weird design choice. Alright, so that's more of a nitpick, but I have some more legitimate problems I have to discuss. Next, the game does not actually tell you how to replay these levels. See, these levels are designed to be really hard, where it's usually ideal to just move on and go back to it later. I tried every single secret level when I got to it and beat quite a few of them, but for the sake of this review and my sanity, I had to move on for some of them. And then later on, when I wanted to go back and try some of these laters with my newly acquired plants, I had no idea how to. And as to my knowledge, the only way you would know is if you looked it up on the wiki, which is what I eventually had to do. The way to replay these levels is you have to rebeat the level that the secret level came from, and that mechanic is kind of annoying. So you have to complete a level you have already done, and then you get to the secret level. Why so needlessly complicated? And it's also kind of redundant if you ask me. Maybe some kind of menu would be nice, I don't know. I get it why they did this, as to keep with the theme of these levels, as it's a rift in the timeline. But man, is it kind of a pain not only how to figure it out, but also to get to the point of completing these levels. There are a total of 20 of these levels, as when going into part 2, I got really sad as I knew there was gonna be no secret levels. But then I saw the time traveling cutscene, I became confused, and then, oh my gosh, I was in modern day! Oh my gosh, this is so exciting! And wait, these are just minigames. Oh, that's cool that they added minigames in vein of the first PVZ. Dude, there's so many of them and they all have unique names. I'm so excited to try them out. But wait, there's no modern day levels? That means that... Ah! What the have they done to my modern day? Alright, more on modern day itself later, but alright, emotional attachments aside, the minigames here are all crazy unique. This is the replacement for a modern day, whether you like it or not. And wow, are there plenty of minigames. Just like the levels, these minigames have unique gimmicks, though these minigames take elements that you have never even seen in the base game. As an example, just literally the first minigame, Meat Shield, where an entourage of bombs will flood the screen every once in a while, and the goal is to put all the zombies in a sort of line, as it's the top buckethead zombie is the one you're trying to protect and not get destroyed by the bombs. The zombies below will take the damage from the bombs and act as a meat shield. Oh! There's also another bit of optional content, Vasebreaker. See, in vanilla PVZ 2, if you ask me, Vasebreaker was pretty forgettable. They only had a handful of levels, and it really just felt like an afterthought. Here though, each world gets its own representation with 3 levels, and I love this. Vasebreaker was always my least favorite when it came to PVZ 1. I still like it, just comparatively to everything else, it was not one I would periodically go back to. And the same for here too, but this is way better than the vanilla PVZ 2 Vasebreaker mode, and I vastly prefer it. Oh, and the other optional content, PVZ 2, Battles and Penny Pursuit. Oh no, what a shame, they're gone. I'm gonna start having a funeral and crying boo-hoo-hoo. Plants vs. Zombies 2 was more challenging than the first game, and I appreciated the extra challenge for veteran players like me. But sometimes I think the devs went just a little too far sometimes. Many levels just had that one wave where they were really wanting you to use that power-up or just shell out $5 for a premium plant. This game, right off the bat, strips the power-ups away, which is a welcome change in my opinion. The power-ups in the vanilla release just felt like a jail out of free card and was too broken. In this game, they are long gone. The levels themselves though are all really hard. Yeah, you thought brutal mode was hard? Well, do I have the surprise for you. I only have one slight problem with some of the difficulty balancing, and it's that about 90% of the time it feels like your fault when you lose. You know how a game is supposed to make you feel. Teacher Danerade speaking now. When creating difficulty, you should strive to make your player almost mad at themselves and not at the game. As getting mad at the game, the player is destined to get mad at the game mechanics because the game is then poorly designed. Eclise does a fantastic job in balancing the difficulty, as most of the time the player gets mad at themselves. And this is because of the excellent game design presented upon us. But for the extra 10% of the time, man, does it really feel unfair. Take this level for instance, 11-6, Set War, set in ancient Egypt. I think the level is fine. It's a fun challenge, long gauntlet type level, and I enjoyed it. Until the game started chucking sandstorms with bucket heads and later on gargantuars. Like, come on, are you serious? You could argue that this is supposed to teach you and be on your toes at all times, react quickly, but most of the time as some of this happens, they just rip through all your defenses and boom, I just die. Again, you could argue that is a nitpick, but I do think it's a legitimate problem. To accommodate this new level of difficulty, however, the devs decided to add a new layer of strategy to not only increase your level of thinking and strategies in this game, but also to produce creativity of your own. So not only have they rebalanced most plants and zombies in this game, good examples include Colonel Pult having a 50% chance to lob his butter attack. It was previously 25%, but consequently his butter lasts half as long, now only being 4 seconds, instead of 8 seconds. For a zombie as an example, again in ancient Egypt, this Tomb Raiser zombie not only having different clothes for some reason, which it's fine, I'm not complaining, but still, has way more health than usual, making him a serious threat, as more health gives him more time to raise tombstones. So in addition to all of that, Good P2 and Mind Power have completely revamped the tiering system. The tiering system in vanilla PVZ 2 was garbage and just added more reason to buy pinatas and spend more money. It was straight up broken and you were destined to lose in Battle Arena. In this game, every plant only has 3 tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3, and each tier has pros and cons. Take this Homing Thistle for instance. His Sun Cost, Recharge, Starting Cooldown, and Shot Cooldown all take a hit for the worse as they all increase, while Toughness, Damage, and the new inclusion of Splash Damage increases. Is it worth the upgrade? I don't know, up to you. Once you unlock tier 3, you are free to change tiers between plants as much as you would like, and specific circumstances might be better for one tier, while the other might require a whole different tier from a plant. This is the level of strategy that is necessary for a tower defense game like Plants vs. Zombies. I only have one problem though, the cost of upgrading. God, some of these tier increase prices can be expensive. Alright, now this point is highly debatable, as one side is either, well, this makes the economy much more balanced in this game. Now coins are worth something, and you have to pick wisely on what to upgrade, which I do agree with that. It's just that because of some of these really high costs, which at least in my experience, limits how much flexibility and creative options I have at my disposal, since after getting halfway through the game, I can only upgrade anywhere from 5 to 7 plants. It just seems like a missed opportunity and a huge roadblock to players like me. I don't get to mix and match and choose all these different tiers for plants. I can only choose so many tiers for plants, and burn through all my coins and money. Definitely a major problem I have with the upgrade system, though I will always take this system over PVZ2's pay-to-win upgrade system.
Did you add microtransactions to Plants vs. Zombies 2?
You bet your sweet Bippy I did.
Right now in the script, I'm at a total of 3,000 words. So for this next section, I'm going to go over everything else I noticed that either changed or was worth mentioning. 1. The Zen Garden has been changed where you do not get boosts from it anymore, you just get coins. 2. The only way to boost your plants now is before the start of each level, which I would personally get rid of. I was never a huge fan of boosts in vanilla and you never used them, and the same goes for here too. 3. The dialogue in this game is really funny. I'll just show one on screen as an example. Four, because of the absence of modern day, rest in peace modern day, portals have been moved to the far future levels. 5. The game introduces new clear conditions such as time limits or custom seed banks. 6. Due to the lack of modern day, the game is not scared to mix and match zombie types from other worlds. 7. New textures have been created to add a little bit of extra polish to the game. The most obvious examples would be some of the flag designs that flag zombies hold, but a less noticeable one would be the snow peas ice ground when it does a plant food attack. 8. Eclise introduces the double wave mechanic where 2 waves of zombies go in at the same time. I like this feature, but it's only really used in the first few worlds and is rarely used later on. 9. You can't boost plants in secret stages. 10. They brought back the demonstration and ultimate battle tunes that PopCap for some reason got rid of. What is wrong with you people? 11. Each level has a name and it's usually a pun of some kind. A few examples are Portal Combat, referencing a minigame of the same name from PVZ1, and Problem Shoveler. Get it? Not Problem Solver, but rather Problem Shoveler. Oh! 12. This game is filled with optional epic quests that adds even more fun levels that usually takes place in a night variant of a world. So while editing this video, I kept on playing the game and I found some more little details that I thought were worth mentioning. They were just too big for me to just gloss over, and for that reason, I'm sorry that the audio might be slightly different. So here are some more findings. Number 13. All of the minigames are already cleared in modern day, which is really annoying. Now I don't know which ones I have cleared and not cleared, and with that, my inner completionist feels unsatisfied. Number 14. There is a modern day epic quest, so that fulfills my modern day craving in this game. Number 15. Highway to the Danger Room is completely different and I love it. In the vanilla game, it was almost impossible, as if you were to start a level only like 30 levels in, then... This version is an endless gauntlet of all of the worlds. Any zombie can appear and they all have unique level layouts. 16. They added the Cleopatra zombie, which is just insane. If you did not know, the Cleopatra zombie was an unused zombie that was supposed to appear in ancient Egypt, but she's back in such a cool inclusion, and she functions just like how she was supposed to, in that she spawns other zombies around her, and she also has Egyptian hieroglyphics that she's saying at the same time. I keep on finding so many cool little details like this, and they are a joy. Sorry for the breakup of the pace, but I had to mention these. Alright, back to the normal video now. I'm sure I missed plenty of things, and the script is already long enough. I wanted to give examples and scenarios and really wanted to try to elaborate as much as I humanly possibly could in the time I have. There's a lot of very small details that aren't really worth going over, but I think you get the general idea of what Eclise is. wow, was this a long video, and I hope it was worth the wait, folks. Eclise is a mod created by GoodP2 and Mindpower, as they aim to get rid of the unfair elements of PVZ2. Levels and worlds have been completely redesigned from scratch, with many levels having distinct themes which help separate the worlds and individual levels so that they feel much more distinct from each other. Everything in this game has been made free, from the actual download of the game to any microtransactions which have been wiped away. Eclise introduces plenty of side modes the player can dabble into, such as secret levels which awards plants, mini games that replaces modern day, rest in peace modern day, and a more elaborate vase breaker mode that is fully envisioned, and much more optional content. Eclise aims to mechanically change the way the player chooses their arsenal through plants and zombie stats being tinkered a bit to balance the game out. Usually plants that were really OP like Primal Potato Mine, or any premium plant was balanced out with the other plants in mind. And a new tiering system which adds an excellent way to initiate player contemplation. The game itself is much harder than the vanilla PVZ2 and somehow achieves the unthinkable in some instances, by making the player feel like it was their fault and not the game's fault. The player then goes on to use those new mechanical elements that add to the strategical aspect of the game and overcome their loss. The game also includes many smaller quality of life changes, like more unique and funny dialogue, some texture changes, Zen Garden restructuring, and many more. Eclise though is not without its downsides, as no game can ever be perfect. Some of the levels, while not super common, can feel really douchebaggy when the game sometimes decides to throw whatever the heck it feels like. The special levels, while a great addition, is a little vague in some instances and has peculiar small design details. The tiering system's cost of coins can be a bit too high for my liking, and they got rid of modern day. 0 out of 10 game. No, in all seriousness, I was heavily impressed with this mod and what it strives to do. This is an excellent game, and I would recommend to any PVZ aficionado, as it tests your knowledge of the game mechanics, and asks you how far you can go without wimping out and looking up strategies on the wiki. I know those people are out there. Please, I encourage you all to download it, and link is in the description. I know I may have been a bit harsh at times in this review, but please just keep in mind that nothing is perfect and anything is warranted to criticism if done correctly. I just want to say that, as I really do love this mod, like love. This mod is very addicting. Definitely lives up to what it wants to achieve. And oh man, was this one long video, and for that reason, if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.